Hey guys, what's up, fam? Welcome back to the Anxious for Nothing podcast. I'm your host, Cece, and today's episode is a little different, okay? Um, Not softer, not reflective, but crystal clear, grounded, and certain. Because something shifted in me recently, okay? And maybe it is starting to shift in you too. Okay, we are part of the collective conscious, and today we're going to talk about this a little bit. And so lately, I don't know if y'all noticed, but my episodes have been much shorter. Okay, we're not doing the 30-minute episodes no more. I am getting straight to the point here. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this. You don't need permission anymore, and that's the title of this episode. um You don't need permission anymore, guys, not to grow, not to change, not to choose yourself, not to build a better life. And you don't have to wait for anyone to approve your healing. Okay, so let's talk about it. Usually I do like a quick little deep breath. So let's inhale and then exhale. Okay, good breath, guys. For a long time, and maybe you can relate to this, I lived like I needed a green light from everybody else. I needed people to agree with me, to understand me, to validate my decisions. And before I moved, before I changed jobs, before I set boundaries, before I said no, before I chose peace, it was like I was subconsciously asking. And I was asking, like, is this okay? Am I allowed to do this? Does this make sense to you? And if someone hesitated, if someone doubted me, if someone didn't fully support me, I'd shrink. I'd second guess. I'd stay stuck. And it was not because I didn't know what to do, but because I didn't trust myself enough to do it without applause. And that's exhausting. Because here's what I've learned this year the hard way. If you wait for everyone to understand your growth, you'll never grow. Welcome in, Brian. Hi. Some people only knew the version of you that tolerated less. So when you level up, they get uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, because you're unfamiliar. Hi, what's up, Grace Tyler? Welcome in. And so, because you're unfamiliar, it's uncomfortable for them. And it makes you feel like you're wrong. Okay? Lately, my life has required me to get very honest with work, with relationships, with my environment. Hi, Brian. With what I will and won't accept. And there have been moments where I had to make decisions that nobody clapped for. No cheering, no great job, Cece, just me, my daughter, and my gut, okay, saying, this isn't right anymore. Move. And that's scary at first because when you're used to survival mode, and a lot of us are in survival mode right now because the media, they're pushing fear on all of us right now. And so permission feels safe. But self leadership, that's quiet. It's you saying for yourself, I trust myself enough to go first, even if nobody else gets it. And here's something I realized every time I ignore my intuition to keep someone else comfortable, I paid for it. I paid for it emotionally, I paid for it mentally, I paid for it physically. But every time I chose myself, even when I felt awkward or lonely, I felt stronger, guys. I felt lighter. I felt clearer. That clarity came not because it was easy, but because it was aligned. Okay? And alignment feels powerful. I use that word a lot, and my daughter's like, Mom, you're always using that word alignment. Because it really is what I am paying attention to now. I was used to chaos in the past, and it was the safe place because, I was highly functioning in the chaos. But let me say something plainly. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's leadership. You're the leader of your life. Nobody else is coming to manage it for you. Nobody else wakes up with your responsibilities. Nobody else carries your dreams for your child. Nobody else is going to carry the dreams for my daughter but me. Nobody else lives in your body or your nervous system. So why are we asking other people for permission to protect our peace? That doesn't even make sense when you say it out loud? I think a lot of us, especially women, especially moms, especially caregivers, we're taught to be agreeable, to be nice, be flexible, don't rock the boat, don't inconvenience anyone. But here's the truth, y'all. Every time you abandon yourself to keep the peace, you lose a little bit of your power. And I'm not doing that anymore. Not in this season. Not after everything I've walked through. Not after rebuilding from scratch. Not after learning how to trust myself again. No. Now it's different. I don't explain my boundaries. I don't beg to be understood. I don't over justify my decisions. I decide and then I move. I move calmly, confidently, without drama. That's power, guys. Not loud, not aggressive, but steady and certain, unshakable, right? And maybe that's what this episode really is. It's just basically, guys, a reminder that you don't have to keep auditioning for your own life. Exist. Literally exist. Practice just existing and taking up freaking space, okay? You don't have to prove you deserve peace. You don't have to convince people that your growth makes sense. Make it make sense to you, okay? You don't need permission to become who you're meant to be. You already qualify. You already know. You already feel it. That quiet voice inside of you, that's enough. Okay? And in closing, I want y'all to remember something. If you're in a season where things feel like they're shifting, it's because they are. Okay? Change is inevitable. And if you're outgrowing people, outgrowing spaces, outgrowing old versions of yourself, don't panic, don't shrink. And definitely do not ask for permission. Stand up straighter. Take a breath. And choose what's right for you. What is right for you, baby? What is right for you? Ask yourself, what is right for you? Look yourself in the mirror, okay? Look yourself in the eye and say, what is right for you, baby? What do you need? What do I need? And you can whisper it. You can whisper it quietly. You don't have to do it loudly. And not defensively, just firmly, okay? Because you do not need permission anymore. You need trust. And guess what? You already have it. You already have it. Trust yourself. Okay? Thank you guys so much for spending this time with me, for everyone that joined on the live here on YouTube Live. If this episode spoke to you, share it with somebody. Share it with someone who's learning to step into their power too. And as always, take a breath with me Inhale through your nose and exhale. Just let it fall out of your lungs, out of your mouth. You're safe. You are capable and you are allowed to choose yourself. Okay? Thank you guys again for tuning in to Angels for Nothing podcast. I'm your host, Cece, and I will talk to you guys again next week. See you all next Monday. Have a blessed one. Bye, guys.